everyone, welcome to AIE's live stream. My name is Chloe and I'm AIE's Sydney event officer. We are also joined by Matt Salas, who also works within the events team, but he's in Adelaide at the moment. Today we have a special session featuring some talented second year students within our 3D animation, game design, film and visual effects programs. And so today we're delving into the captivating world of the game Skyreach. This game was crafted by our graduate team called BioBlue Games. So, the game Skyreach was brought to life by the collaborative efforts of BioBlue Games. So it would be amazing if we could start with an introduction of each of your names, and then maybe just provide a brief description of your specialty or roles which you played when creating the game.
Cool.
Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first. My name's Zach, for short. I'm one of the game designers, but I mainly prefer level design and UI design. There is another game designer who's not here with us, Brody, who's the sound designer and another game designer, and the technical designer. And we have one of our artists here, Chloe.
My name is Chloe Scandizzo, and I was the environmental tech artist. So I did a lot of the terrain props, foliage cards, technical art, effects, and other aspects regarding just the overall environmental pieces throughout the game.
Awesome.
Yep. And I'm Annita. I was the creature artist, mainly working on the movements for the fish, like materials and stuff, some volumetrics.
My name's Paul. I am the game systems programmer. Now, unfortunately, one of our other programmers, Brendan, he was the mechanics programmer who worked on all the movement system. But basically, I worked on systems such as the grapple hook and the persistent levels throughout the game, and I was also the UI and user experience.
Amazing. Thanks, guys, for sharing. Before we dive into the details, could you please provide us with a brief overview of what the game is actually about? I'd love to hear it from the talented minds behind the game.
So Skyreach is just a casual speedrun platformer for like mid-core gamers, and where you explore fantasy ruins, find artifacts, and soar at breakneck speeds by using various abilities and using the environment to maintain your momentum, basically.
Yeah, it's got definitely a fantastical aesthetic to it, that merged with, what is usually technologically advanced, like Ghost Runner games. Ours is a lot more lighthearted and a little bit more beginner friendly for people who wanted to get into speedrunning. Speedrunning is obviously just full of people who know how to do it and know how to do it fast. So this one is one that you can kind of take a little bit slower for people who don't necessarily know how to speedrun. It's a good transition into the genre of gaming.
So you'd say your target audience is probably like people that are wanting to get more into games, beginners.
Definitely.
Oh, awesome.
Well, also being for like speedrunners as well.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like Legend of Zelda where everyone wants to play it because it's pretty.
Yeah. I was gonna say I've looked at the game and I played it at the graduate showcase, and oh my goodness, it was like it kind of reminded me of Zelda, but it was amazing. Yeah, definitely. So I just wanted to ask, Zach, would you mind bringing up the game and sharing it with us?
Sure thing.
Oh, amazing.
As you're doing it, what was the inspiration for the game? How did you guys end up on this?
The game's actual, like the idea of the game out of all 12 was one of Brody's ideas. Now, Brody is pretty, has his heart set on a lot of movement-based games from the start. Like he's had some previous projects around movement-based games. So he put forward this one, and it was kind of more just the most viable option. Like our team were very creative and very ready to do a lot, and we had some
Yeah.
ideas that were just so out of scope. So this one was presented to us by Jesse, our mentor in our classroom, as probably like the most viable option. And with that, we all decided that it was probably the best idea, so we could get it done with the shorter scope. When it
Yeah.
came to the inspiration of like the aesthetic and everything, we were pretty much, me and Annita were allowed to do kind of whatever we wanted. It could have been in any environment. So to do something based in the sky around, wind and, a little bit more fantastical, definitely set the tone for other aspects of the game. So like the creatures, the character hands, just the general like level design itself was all influenced by the fact that we wanted to base it in this fantastical lost ruin in the sky, lost to gravity kind of aesthetic that was based around, movement and flying through the air and soaring really quickly. We thought it went together quite well.
What
Yeah,
an
cool.
awesome summary. I love it,
A little bit
Chloe.
long.
No, that's good. That's great.
Good.
So, I mean, you've spoken a little bit about the development process, but is there anything specifically which you wanted to emphasize, or anything that you found difficult or challenging, or any part of the process that you really, really enjoyed, or anything like that?
I can probably say this because through the beginning of the development cycle of this game, we had it as one big level, and as we progressed throughout the end of alpha, we then all as a group came and decided that throughout beta we would split up the levels into 5 individual ones. Not only because we were having a lot of merge issues on GitHub with it, but also since we separated each of them, I could then make a persistent leveling to then simultaneously load each of the levels seamlessly without any issues.
Yeah.
Doing that was a pretty fun process, and it saved us a lot of time with setting our work back.
Definitely. I think it also, when it came to an art side of things, that change allowed us to optimize our work even further. So, for example, me trying to do foliage, if I had to paint every single island in one big level, it would have just been laggy. It would have just been trying to load all those blades of grass consistently. Whereas in the persistent leveling, the occlusion culling allows us to have our levels perform more efficiently, and in that way, allow the whole game to run just a little bit smoother. So you'll notice, something that we noticed as we went along was where bigger levels were a bit laggier, so we had to further optimize. But having the persistent levels allowed us to separate the overall like load of the game itself on, I guess, less efficient PCs.
So you definitely had some experimentation as part of the process as well, it sounds like.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I
Awesome.
think a big part of our game as well, being a speedrun game, and you guys can jump in if I'm not really saying it right, but speedrunning is done completely different by every person. So it's a very individualized form of gameplay where everyone's going to speedrun in their own way. So trying to balance mechanics and controls around everyone's specific taste was something that Brendan and Paul really had to balance as they went all through alpha, all through beta. Trying to get everyone happy, but also not like trying to change it every time someone brought something up, because it would just get lost in the individualized nature of playing a game.
Yeah, totally. No, that's so cool. I love the explanation. So I just wanted to ask, I'm sure our viewers are very curious about the gameplay specifically. Would you be able to walk us through some of the controls within the game?
Well, there's mainly the basics. Obviously, there's the wall running, like dashing as well, which you've got a little dash bar under the reticle, if you might
Okay.
notice it. We've also got sliding as well.
Okay.
Like you can slide down places.
All
It's
right.
not really the best place here, but yeah. You can see
So
wall
cool.
running here. We've got grappling
Yeah.
as well.
So you're just using the WASD on the
Yep.
keyboard and then the space bar for jumping?
Yeah, we've got double jump, spacebar, WSD. It's fairly simple controls, nothing too
So,
complex.
yeah, WSD for basic movement. Shift is dash. So if Zach wants to dash forward for a moment, yeah, just that
Yeah,
swimming motion,
okay.
that's dash. So when you hit shift, that'll propel you forward. And when you hit like steep inclines, holding control while you're moving will allow you to slide down big hills. So Zach will give us a cool demonstration of that mechanic
Okay.
now.
Here's a better demonstration of the sliding.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And as you see, when he
Super
presses
fast.
left click, he then grapples towards the grapple points. That
Okay.
What are the items that you're collecting?
Those are the relics.
Yeah.
The
The
artifacts.
relics.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of
No,
the things that we had to actually put into the game a little bit later was a reason for the person to want to like go and explore. So we implemented a relic collection system, which is just in the corner over there. It's like a layered piece of gold that it fits into each other. So like when he collects the next piece, it'll layer on top, and then the final piece will essentially create the full the full stack of gold relics. And at the end, that will equate to 1 star or 1 egg. Which if we go to hit P at some point, in the corner over here, we have a 3-star system. And that is another driving force within our game that we like to encourage people to at least try to accomplish. Obviously, you can just finish the level and go as fast as you can, and that's definitely a big part of it. Sorry, could you just hit P again, please, Zach?
Yeah.
Awesome. So like if you look at, you've got your time to beat, which is 2 minutes. That's 1 star. Relics collected, 3 out of 3. That's another. And then just finishing the level itself is all 3 stars. So that in itself was implemented so the player had some purpose, because not everyone's just going to innately want to jump around really fast.
Yeah.
That's a very singular perspective of the game, which people do enjoy, but I know for me, I want a reason to run around and collect things. So we put the relic collection in as a way to like coax the player through the level, I guess.
Yeah, right.
It also
Okay. Yeah, cool.
gives a reason for any speedrunners wanting to play the game to like 100% complete the level. It gives them a reason to just push and see how like if they can beat their existing time, say from 1 minute to 30 seconds with collecting everything. But that being said, you can still beat the level without doing any of the objectives. You can take it at your own pace if you want to.
Amazing. Okay. So it kind of, encourages the players to kind of, go a little bit further and, do more than just run around. I love it. So good. So I might ask another question. So do you have any standout features or particular innovations that you think are like, wow, like this makes this game really stand out compared to others?
Well, we did introduce the sunfish as a wall run simply because like to add more like wildlife to the environment because they wanted more fish. We wanted to include something like a fish you can run on, basically. And that we introduced that into level 2 here, just after this small little section here. We had the opportunity to, you see all the sunfish flying around, like, oh, what's this? Like, oh, they're all going all over the place. And then you realize, like, oh, you can wall run on them. And they also make noise as well as you wall run on them.
I
Originally,
must say that is unique.
we
That is
also
very
wanted
unique.
to add the ability to like they dynamically like move back a bit if you wall run on them. But yeah, we didn't have time to do something like that, obviously. Would have been cool though.
Definitely would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, that kind of leads into my next question. Is there anything, if you had more time, obviously you'd change the mechanics or the physics of the fish, like you just said. But do you have any plans to continue working on the game in the future?
I think I can speak for a majority of us is where Sky Surge was such an awesome project to show each other or ourselves what work we were interested in doing. Like, for example, I know Zach is a bit of a fiend for level design. This
Yeah.
game himself really allowed him to push those skills to the forefront. I got to try environment art, which and stylized environment art was a completely new area to me, but now I know that I want to work on it more in the future. And Annita can further work on her creatures and her characters because she's always been a very dominant creature artist. And I know that Paul and Brendan and Brody themselves have just really enjoyed the problem solving that comes or that came with this project itself. So unfortunately, I don't think that Sky Surge is on the forefront of our agendas right now. It is something I think that we'll all really cherish and possibly delve back into the future. But for now, I think we're either going to go, expand our skills and work on new projects to keep our creativity kind of flowing right now, or further education. I know Paul's getting his bachelor. Go and get the extra pieces of paper and he's going to do the thing. And I know a lot of us are kind of just trying to find our feet right now on it and on the baby steps onto the industry. So Sky Surge has been such a pleasure to work on, but it was a nice student project to get our hands dirty with, or toes wet.
No, that's so great, Chloe. Thank you so much for explaining that. So you definitely say that the creation of Sky Surge has influenced your future within the games industry.
Definitely.
Oh,
I think,
100%.
yeah, it was such an awesome project. And no matter how we look at it, it was even if we don't think we did enough, we did a lot. So to push ourselves even further, there's plenty of things that we could have added to this that would have made it even better. But for what we did, I think we should all be, really, really proud of ourselves in what we made.
Especially for some of us like me who never really used Unreal before.
Yeah.
This was my first time using it, like learning how to especially design the levels for this, because I'm predominant in like Unity for the
Totally.
past 2 years, and then learning this for like 15 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
I think I did fairly well. And
Zach did a really, really, really great job at acclimatizing himself to this process. Like even
Yeah.
Paul and Brendan didn't really have that much experience, but they put their heads down and they did the thing, which was really, really encouraging to see for the rest of us.
What was, you just mentioned the Unity and the Unreal side of things in regards to software. What were some of the pieces of software that each of you used? So like Annita, for creating the artwork that you did, what were some of the major pieces that you...
I used ZBrush mainly for the sculpting, and then retopology in Maya, hair cards also in Maya.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's mainly ZBrush, Maya, Substance Painter.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite piece of software?
I like all of them. Because you need all of them to work. Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
She is a bit of a whiz in ZBrush though.
You'll have to teach me. Oh, so fun, so good. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention about your experience making the game, or any other fun moments or memorable times or anything like that?
I guess for me, a really awesome part of
Yes,
it. Rest in peace.
Our
Scope
little
cuts.
secret.
Is that a little nugget in the
So-
game?
Easter egg.
Nugget.
Easter egg.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
fairly early in the development cycle, I really wanted a budgie in the game, but it got scrapped due to time
Yeah.
constraints.
Yeah.
And Zach's like, "Don't worry, I'll put a little secret in there for you."
He'll be in.
Yeah. Originally, the budget was going to like help guide the player of where to go, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Rather than the glowing walls, we were gonna have like a guiding light or a guiding like budgie or like a dialogue there, but it was just like another character to add on to, and it was more work for both me and Annita, so we were just like, no, glowing walls. I know definitely like reflecting back on this entire project, one of the main things that I think really made this project stand out and really progress into a fully fledged like vertical slice, or we did complete the whole game, but the testing that we did, Beer and Pixels, having our fellow students test it was really, really important. I guess just generally having that openness to feedback was something that we did really, really well. Whenever we were presented with anything that just seemed like it would change the whole game, or even if it was something little, like collisions or something like that, all of us were very, very receptive and very willing to make the changes needed to make people happy. And I think that is a pretty good skill that we all kind of did together when we had to come and sit down and be like, all right, so what's not working? How do we fix this? We all did really well as a team to communicate and problem solve when issues arised, which was really, really cool to be a part of, especially in such a small student project.
Yeah, if there was one big thing, like big soft skill I've taken from this, it's communication.
Definitely.
Big,
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah, and
There
that's
were
what you need in the
many-
industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
When
There
you're,
were many nights of me and Brendan staying up at 3 a.m. trying to fix a merge issue on GitHub.
That
Many
also
nights,
includes during class as well, taking the time to do that. It's
Yeah.
painful, but we got through it, and here we are today. So
yeah, ready for the future.
So I think I might have already known this one from Zach in terms of communication. But Paul, Chloe, and Annita, what are your 3 pieces of advice for people like yourselves, but rewind back like a year or 2 ago?
Okay, who wants to go first? Annita, you go first.
Not so sure. Feedbacks? Just keep working hard. Always communicate to each other, help each other out when needed. For example, Chloe did really well with the animations because I didn't have much time. I had to do a lot of the creatures, and then while blocking out, like I had to hand it over to Chloe to do the animations. So I had to work on the rigging and then go back to sculpting. So it's a bit of back and forth. Yeah. So a lot of communication is required.
Definitely. I agree. I think my biggest pieces of advice would also be just like, if you're in a team, like they're your team, don't underestimate the value of appreciating each other. You're never gonna work well with someone that you don't respect. So, or vice versa, if that makes sense. So that communication itself, or just that, hey, do you need a break? Or, hey, are you okay? Is really, really important when working with a team. And like, all of these guys are my friends. So having that kind of relationship become professional was a nice transition. But there was no moment within this 4-month period that I didn't feel like I could just turn around and ask for help. So being there and showing up, always just show up when you can, come into class, because it just shows people that you care. And you show up because you want to be there. And I feel like if anyone wants to do art or wants to do games or wants to do film, AIE is the place to show up to. Yeah.
Probably my biggest 2 pieces of advice is time management and choose who you work with wisely. Because one of our greatest strengths within our team making Skyreach was, say, me and Brennan, he was very good at making a character controller, while I was good at making game systems, and we just collabed really well. Same thing with Zach and Brody. Brody was really good with technical design. Zach's really good with just level design, art design, and even UI design. And how Chloe and Annita are really good at, environment. And then Anita's really good with rigging. We all mixed well together. And yeah, my biggest advice is don't just choose to work with someone just because they're your mate. You'd want to, if you're both going to be doing the same thing, if you're a character artist and that other person's a character artist and they're your friends, it's like, how are you going to diverse your work? Choose who you want to work with wisely.
Yeah, totally.
Even if like their skills in other areas, say, aren't the strongest, you'd never know until you work with them, because that might bring them out, and you guys might do really well together because you never know.
Yeah, balancing skill sets is
Yeah.
like it's something that you might do a little bit later on in the advanced side of things, but it's something to be aware of as you go in as a new thing, just to be like, oh, notice who's good at what. You know, it's not that, oh, they're better than me, so I don't like them anymore. It's like, no, they're really good at that thing. I'm going to remember
Yeah.
that because I might need them to help me out with something later. Like maintaining those relationships, I think Paul's got a great point where it's like you're balancing respect and you're also balancing like, hey, skill set as well.
Yeah, no, they're all really great points. Thank you so much for bringing that to everyone's attention, or for people, prospective students, people that might be thinking about joining AIE, or new students. So
do it. Do it.
There you go. There you go.
It's definitely worth the money. Say the
Totally.
least.
Oh, 100%.
It's worth the time, it's worth the money. I've got relationships with all of these people that aren't going anywhere. So yeah.
I got friends out of this. I'm happy. I moved to Sydney like 2 years ago, so like I only knew 2 people in Sydney. Now I don't. I know like 50 now people. It's great.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's
It's a very
so
supportive
great.
environment. Totally. Teachers care, everyone cares. It's good.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, thank you so much to BioBlue Games for sharing your insights and your incredible journey behind the creation of Skysurge. I can't wait to see your amazing, incredible future projects, and thank you again for joining. We'll see you around.
Awesome,
Oh,
Chloe.
I'm
Thank
going
you
to
so
jump
much.
in
Thank you so
one last
much.
second at the end. Does anyone have any, and you might not, so put everyone on the spot. Does anyone have any portfolio websites or handles they want to share at all?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
will.
Chloe can
Yeah.
go first.
Where can we find you, Chloe?
You
Check
can
out my
find,
LinkedIn.
yeah, check out my LinkedIn, Chloe Michelle Scandizzo. Same with ArtStation, Chloe Michelle S is kind of like my ArtStation tag. A lot of my environmental tech art there is there. And future projects will be posted on my ArtStation. I've also got an Instagram account at cytotrance_artistry. It's kind of just like a less professional look at the processes that I use. And LinkedIn, of course. Chloe Michelle Scandizzo. That's me.
Check out my LinkedIn, Paul Elol, EWL, and you can check out my portfolio and different websites through there, or just send me a connection and send a message.
Totally.
Yeah. Just on LinkedIn as well. Just Zancu Herta, like ZANCU Herta. Kind of a weird name, but yeah. I'm still working on the portfolio stuff, but it'll be there if you want to get in touch.
For me, LinkedIn as well. ArtStation mainly, that's where I post my artworks. Currently, I'm working on a character, so it's gonna be finished soon.
Cool. And do you know, Annita, how to find your ArtStation? What do people Google?
It's just my actual name, Annita T.
Yep. Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much, everyone, and best of luck with your future endeavors.
Heck yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
thank
Matt.
you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for your time.
Awesome.
Again.
Thanks,
Bye,
Matt. Thanks,
guys.
Chloe.
Bye.
Ta-ta.
Bye.